Behind the drastic scenery and wonderful tourist spots lies a problem that most third world countries experience: poverty. The Philippines has a population of over 111 million, and more than 16% live below the poverty line. Everywhere you go, may it be beaches, parks, or even the roads, you can always see street children begging for some spare change, and people sleeping in the cardboard boxes and used newspapers. This is a sad reality that lies beneath this beautiful country. What exactly does living below the poverty line means? The poverty line is based on the standard income required to support the basic needs of an individual or a family. If a person's income does not meet the standard, then they can be classified as living below the poverty line. The primary victims of poverty are the farmers, fishermen, agricultural workers, and other people that reside in rural communities. As we all know, the country experiences natural disasters such as typhoons several times a year, and because of poverty, these communities become more exposed to such risk, worsening the situation to an extent where recovering becomes increasingly harder for them.
Because of poverty, there is a significant marginalization between the rich and the poor. The poor is more susceptible to diseases and danger, since they cannot afford basic necessities like food and even clean water. Poverty is not only present in rural areas, it is also present in cities all around the Philippines. Slums can be seen in even the most developed cities like Manila, Cebu, and Davao. People live in an almost unlivable conditions, surrounded by pollution, scarce resources, and even at times, criminal activities. Now that we scratched the scenario of poverty within the country, let us dig in deeper into its effects.
What exactly does poverty do to the people? To name a few, poverty deprives people from providing proper housing, gaining proper nutrition, forcing children to work at an earlier age, and even committing crimes for the sake of money. People living below the poverty line can barely put food on their table 3 times a day as they earn so little, stopping them from acquiring decent housing and increasing the tendency of these people accompanying the streets instead, as well as proper food, which puts them at risk of malnutrition. They also do not earn enough income, so children have to work as well. When people do not have enough money, they are forced to perform desperate measures and even commit illegal activities, as dirty money is easier to earn than hard-earned ones. It is quite saddening to witness people being sent to jail for stealing, selling drugs, and other crimes when they are just doing it to survive and provide food for their families, while corrupt people live in their lavish lifestyles, sitting on the thrones made up of the people's money.
What exactly causes poverty and such unfortunate events? Poverty, aside from natural causes, is caused by unemployment, lack of economic growth, overpopulation, and most especially, corruption. Although the employment rate is slowly increasing, there are still millions of people who do not have stable jobs to provide for their families, putting them deeper into the grave called poverty, which almost has no way out. Unemployment sometimes stems from slow economic growth, since there are not enough businesses which offer job positions and sources of income. Lastly, corruption plays a huge role in worsening poverty in our country. Corrupt leaders hoard their resources, commit illegal activities with lesser risk of ending behind bars than someone who stole a kilo of rice and a few canned goods. Leaders who are incompetent and corrupt not only add up to the worsening situation, they also hinder the growth of our economy, since they are more focused on their own good rather than how they can contribute to the development of our country. If we aim to get out of poverty, we need good leaders who aim to serve and put the country first, not corrupt crocodiles who spend the money of the country without a single care in the world.
How do we at least lessen the current scenario? Although it is not an entirely easy task to do, we can aid our fellow Filipinos in need by helping them in our own little ways. The Catholic social teaching, Option for the Poor and Vulnerable, basically encourages us to care for those who are most in need, may it be by donating our unused clothes and goods, or participating in outreach programs, and even offering them methods to earn money or job opportunities. Another Catholic social teaching that can be applied in this situation would be the dignity of work and rights of workers. This teaching lives with the principle that the economy must serve the people and not the other way around. No one must be prevented from the right to earn, and employers must also ensure that the rights of their workers are respected even when they live below the poverty line. Work isn't just a method to earn money, it is also a way for people to contribute to our duty as stewards of God's creation. To further enlighten our minds of the possible solution to help lessen the current issue, a virtual dramatization and a virtual MTV has been prepared by the group. So settle and stretch as the show has just begun.
What does it take to end corruption, unemployment, and poverty? These three words that I said are basically related to each other so that they can be connected as dominoes. If one goes down, the rest will also fall. If the country has so little corruption rate, then there will be less unemployment rate and probably the poverty will end in the Philippines. In the Philippines, the number one thing we need the most is a clean government that takes taxpayers' money and puts it right back into the community so that there is inclusive growth. Also, we need a good leader to lead the country. Furthermore, there are so many ways to end these social problems. If you can't remove corruption in the country, you can generate jobs with the right amount of salary for the people, and if all the people are hardworking, they can save themselves from poverty. Another solution to these problems is that create an equal justice system and opportunities that will not marginalize the least fortunate in our society. An opportunity wherein people will not be judged, hired according to their educational attainments. Because less fortunate people will have little to none resources to spend with their education. However, they can be skilled in other fields. To further explain on how to solve social problems in the Philippines, building resilience from climate change. Poverty is most likely to arise when there is a high level of marginalization and risk, with the risk referring to a person's or a group's level of vulnerability, as well as the risks they confront. For instance, one of the reasons why a lot of people died in Typhoon Yolanda was because of extreme poverty. In a nation where 1 in 5 people earn less than $2 a day, the people in Haiyan's path stood out for their deep poverty. Many victims built their homes on the island's narrow coastal plains and lived off subsistence fishing and farming. everybody must be educated, down from the bottom people. It assists people in becoming better citizens, obtaining higher paying job, and demonstrating the difference between good and bad. Education instills in us the value of hard work while also assisting us in our growth and development. As a result, by understanding and respecting rights and rules and regulations, we may help to form a better society. Then less people will be selling drugs and doing other crimes in the country. Consumers need affordable food and good quality food. Food prices must be so low that people will spend more money on education and improving themselves. Then there will be less thieves that steals a kilo of rice and canned goods. Also, there will be less people selling drugs just to feed their family a 3 meal of food in a day.
Another option for the government to handle the problem of unemployment is to maintain economic growth. Employers will be more eager and able to hire more people as the economy grows. This contributes to the reduction of unemployment. This is, however, a long-term plan with a long time to observe effects. Investors are attracted to invest in a place where a certain area has strong structural capabilities such as electricity, road, labor, security, etc. These are just few structures where investors should consider and be attracted. Hence, in our current situation, our government is trying really hard to improve our structures to attract in investors, thus creating more job opportunities. In the future, our rate of growth will continue in the marginalized community will have their own equal opportunity. Number of legislators. If our House of Representatives is unable to generate a sufficient number of helpful laws, why not consider reducing the number of congressional seats to only include skilled members? We also have a large number of barangay officials around the country who can only be employed as vote brokers during national elections. Although barangay officials can be useful since there are some trustworthy authorities at this level, we must analyze if barangay elections are advantageous at the national level. We need to spread love and goodness in our country. No matter what you are, poor, rich, or an animal, you need to love everyone. You need to be good to everyone, because the goodness you give to people will come back to you. Going to church, confessing your sins, praying to God. If all the people do this, there will be less people and more good people. In the Philippines, we have solid legislation in place. Our legal system's lack of honesty is the issue. Our laws suffer from unfairness because the authorities that should be safeguarding them do not respect and protect them in the first place. Politicians and government officials who are corrupt are rarely sentenced to prison. and the poor or the vulnerable are the ones who suffer from the work of dirty politicians in the Philippines.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. See the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know that I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and I'm
Asking him to change his ways, and
no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Na 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 na.
I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there's some with no home, not nickel alone. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? I'll be a deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washout dream. They fall apart and often when you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make the change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make the change.
Get it right, but you got the time, 'cause when you close your heart, then you close up your mind.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make
that
the change.
Na 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 na. Na